come to say thank you most of all for our life, our health, and our strength. Today, God, we ask that you lead and guide and direct us, God, each official as they speak, and whatever we decide to do today, God, let it be your will. In Jesus' name we pray. Everybody says, amen.
Amen. Please remain standing for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Welcome everybody here this evening. Thank you for coming. Staying cool these days. Council, you have in your packet a copy of the minutes of the May 10th council meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept them as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries unanimous. Also, you have the May financial report. Are there any additions or corrections to that report? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept them as presented? So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries unanimous. At this time, I'd like to call on Quinetta Butterball, who is with Duke Energy Foundation. She's here to present a check to the Sherrall Fire Department rescue boat. So, Chief.
We recently, council had announced at the STEMA conference, the Emergency Management Association conference, that we were going to be giving away $500,000 across the state for emergency preparedness and resiliency grants. And the town of Sherrall applied and was awarded $8,250 for the vote. So very, very proud to work with Sherrall, and we're grateful for the work that you do in emergency management.
We are humbled that we received that grant. We look forward. We've had some incidents where had some drowning on the river and some major flooding where we were not in a position to be able to help those people. We really hope this is going to be a great step forward to be able to provide that assistance.
I want to come ride. If you do a test drive on the river, just let me know and I'll.
We'll be glad to.
Quinetta, on behalf of Town of Sherrall, Council, I want to thank Duke Energy Foundation for making this presentation to Sherrall, especially to Sherrall Fire Department. It's a badly needed piece of equipment. We need it desperately.
Thank you.
And it will, hopefully, we won't have to use it too often. But,
Just for test drives.
yeah,
that's fine.
Once a year.
Training and driving, I think we all have to use it for, but we won't be ready to help.
That's right.
we thank you all for y'all's generosity. Yes, sir.
Thank you. And thank you for applying very much.
One, two, three. One, two, three. Thank you.
Thank you. Checks, for real checks should be in the mail. I'm not sure when, but for real, so thank you all. Thank you all for having us see. Thanks, Ron.
Congratulations, Chief. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
For your work in your department's work. At this time, I'd like to have a motion to go into public hearing on the proposed increase of water and sewer rates for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023. Do I have a motion to go into public hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, I now declare us in public hearing. Is there anyone here present this evening that would like to address council in this public hearing?
Now, I'll just say in regards to, we are increasing rates 20% over last year, and it's simply, we're undertaking a lot of improvements right now. We're in the midst of about $12 million. Of that, $5.8 million is a loan We need to, in the future, start looking at building a new water treatment plant, which will cost about $40 million. Increase the capacity of our wastewater, which is about 26 million, plus just basic operation and improvement. So we're looking at a bunch of money that we need to start. So that's the reason why we're having to raise these rates. But we still anticipate going after as much grant money as possible. And hopefully we'll be able to get some of that offset some of these costs.
Yes, ma'am.
Just one question, I don't know if I have to give my name, but I'm Delphine Wallace from 209 Church Street here in Sherrod. I noticed that you've increased the rates for the past 3 years that I can remember. What have we done with any of that increase? Or, because you keep talking about water treatment center and repairs, and I understand that these things need to be done, but what have we done over the past 2 or 3 years?
We have done approximately, like I said, we're in the process now of replacing a lot of water lines, just improvements in our wastewater, our sewer plant, where we had those were built back in the 60s, 70s. And so just maintaining those has been we had one time, we could say we had the lowest water sewer rates in the state. It sounds great, but when you're not doing things to improve, and just like we've been basically putting Band-Aids on things for the last 20 years, and we should have been raising it, and so now things have caught up to us where we have to do things. So it's a bunch of different improvements. We've got a 10-year capital improvement plan, and which includes all these things that we have done. I'll be glad to give you a copy of that too. And let me just read off, like, for instance, right now, based on just other municipalities in the county, Town of Sherrod charges $20.79 for water, $22.66 for sewer. Town of Chesterfield charges same amount as 6,000 gallons a month. Town of Chesterfield, $40.59 for water, and sewer is $56.05. Town of Jefferson, $38.79 for water. Same thing, $38.79 for sewer. Town of McBee just charges water, they have charged $24.98. Town of Patron charges $33.55 for water, $47.20 for sewer, and Town of Patrick just charges water at $60.75. The state average, so our average together is about $43 and some odd cents. The state average is still about $75, so we're still well below. And like I said, we've got to do this in order to keep a healthy water and sewer plant.
Mike,
Yeah.
I got a quick question, Mike. From my understanding, when I just hear you, you said it's a $12 million process, and we have $5 million, so the rest we got. Is this gonna be okay at the end? Are you raising it to finish paying this loan?
No. It's for future stuff as well.
Okay.
So that what we've gotten this far, about 12 million, but we've also gotten grants and forgivable loans to do this. So we are applying for every possible grant fund we can. You know, there's a possibility we can get 10 million from the state, the Scholars Infrastructure, and we're trying to go after as much money as we can.
I got you. My next question is, who is over the water treatment now?
Doug Stowe.
Okay.
Mike, maybe want to mention the water and sewers operating close to $1 billion loss.
Yeah. If you've been around when the auditors got up here and they talked about how we're losing nearly $1 million a year, but of course we don't necessarily agree with that. A lot of it has to do with depreciation and GASB, which is pensions and stuff. So we're looking more into that, but we still have to regular rates.
Any other questions or comments? Here none, I have a motion to go back into regular session. Is there a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries unanimous. Now I'd like to have a motion to go into a public hearing on proposed budget for the town of Sherrod for fiscal year ending June 30th of 2023. Do I have a motion to go into public hearing? Got a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed. Now I declare we're going to public hearing to discuss the budget fiscal year ending June the 30th of 2023. Is anybody like to address council?
Yes, sir.
Mayor, I got one question that I think, about a year ago, I mentioned, that with the budget, is anywhere that we can, and I don't like the fact that I'm saying this and Chief is right here. I would like to see in the budget that we give the fire department enough money to hire more full-time people.
We are reorganizing the fire department, and we have looked at at applying for grants and stuff, but basically, Stevenson, we only have so much money to go around. We can only raise taxes so much each year, you know, that's defined by law. And so we are doing the best we can. We'd love to be able to hire a bunch of not only police, fire, but police and other departments as well. We can't even find, there's hard enough time just trying to find people to work. And the mayor and I have been going on visits to our annual visits to the industry, and each of those industries that we met with have talked about the need to kind of find qualified people. We talked about last month the need to hire a full-time codes officer. I wish we could, but the problem is that we cannot find anybody that's certified and pay them what somebody like Safeco is doing. So we're doing all we can, and we will continue to look for ways to increase our personnel, but it costs money, and we just don't have the
Mike, as a citizen in this time, I would be more focused on more firefighter than the code and law enforcement. And I feel like if we are raising the price of the water and sewage, why not put, we need those people. We need those are our first responders. And I know what I'm talking about because I have asked questions to the chief, and we know that we do not have enough full-time employees. So if we have to raise the tax to give them, once again, I didn't want to discuss that while he was here because I didn't even know that was on the agenda. But our first responder are more important to us than people here. So.
Pierre, may I add, one of our discussions in our planning session this year with the chief and the fire department was restructuring, as Mike said, his organization. And at his request, this council looked into it with the chief's recommendations, and his department met and made a recommendation to this council. The fire department did on the restructuring of his organization. And this council did agree to fund that and go with that.
Okay.
Chief, you got any comments?
I'll just mention that we have asked for a grant to hire one more person to be, it's more important to have somebody working during the day that can help with fires. You know, at nighttime, you have a little bit more volunteers. But we're still having a hard time finding volunteers. And so we're aware of all this stuff, and that's a concern problem.
Anybody else that have any comments? Hearing none, do I have a motion to go back in regular session?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Now, we're back in regular session. Council, you have in your packet, second reading on ordinance, two ordinances. First ordinance 2022-16. This is an ordinance to raise revenue and adopt a general operating budget for the town of Sherrall for the fiscal year ending June the 30th of 2023. Do I have a motion to adopt this second reading? Got a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries unanimous. Also, we have second reading on ordinance 2022-17. This is an ordinance amending section 19-7, B and 1, B 1 and 2, and 19-51, A and B of the Sherrall Town Code, increasing certain water and sewer rates. Do I have a motion to adopt this as second reading to the ordinance?
So moved.
Is there a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries unanimous. We have several items for first reading of ordinances. The first is 2023-01. This is ordinance to amend the town of Sherrall's official zoning map to rezone partial 271-009-011-001 from R1 single family residential to open space. Rob?
This involves the Old Public Works Department at the end of East Market Street. At the council briefing a couple months ago, you guys saw on the map, where that's the best site for the new water treatment facility to go. Right now, it is zoned residential. Planning Commission later this month will hold a public hearing, to look at rezoning that to open space, which allows for public utility development, but prevents other types of development that are not suitable in that area.
Council, you hear the recommendation from the planning commission to change the zoning on that partial land. Do I have a motion to adopt first reading on that ordinance?
So
Is there a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries unanimous. Also, first reading of ordinance 2023-02. This is an ordinance to amend the town of Sherrod's official zoning map to rezone partial 259-006-009 from R1A single family residential to neighborhood commercial. Rob?
This is something that was brought to our attention about a month ago or so. This involves the AirTech air conditioning repair place down on West Market Street. That was annexed into the city in December of 1994. And at the time, the town of Sherrod assigned it a commercial zoning designation and residential zoning designation to the houses around it. So the intent was always for it to be commercial. At some point, when the zoning map was redone, maybe about 2000 or so, it was just kind of turned into residential. So this would, again, the planning commission would meet on this and hold a public hearing later this month. But this would be to turn it back into a commercial designation as was intended when it was annexed into the city.
This is a recommendation of the planning commission, correct?
We'll hold a public hearing this in later this month.
You hear the ordinance, do I have first reading of ordinance 2023-2?
So moved.
You got a motion, and a second? Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries unanimous. Also, first reading of ordinance 2023-3, an ordinance to amend the town of Sherrod's official zoning map to assign the R1 single family residential zoning district to partial 259-005-001-004. Also, a partial 259-016-001-001. Rob?
These are two property owners. This is located at 113 and 111 Chatham Drive. The next two ordinances also deal with this matter. They petitioned for annexation into the city, and as part of that process, the planning commission has to hold a public hearing and assign a zoning designation to those two properties. Looking at the area, all the other houses in that area that are also in the city limits are zoned R1. So in this case, these two homes would just match what's already around them. And the planning commission will meet later this month to review this proposal.
Do I have a motion to adopt first reading on the ordinance of 2023-03? That motion, is there a second?
Second.
Got a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries unanimous. Also, first reading on the ordinance 2023-04. This is an ordinance for authorizing the sale of real property located on ACL Avenue. Mike?
This is town was donated a piece of property back in 2008. It's approximately 207 ACL Avenue. And I was approached by somebody that was interested in purchasing that property. So in order to put it up, explain it had to go through a public bid process. I took a picture and posted a note or put a notice on the property, and then held an actual public bid with a minimum starting bid of $100. He was the only one that showed up, and he actually owns the property next to this property the town owns, and so I'm recommending that we allow that, and you have to do this by ordinance since it is for the sale of property, so we can take it off and at least be, giving some tax money.
Council, we get a recommendation from the administration to adopt first reading on ordinance 2023-04. Do I have a motion to adopt first reading? The motion, is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries unanimous. Also, first reading of ordinance 2023-05, an ordinance to annex certain contiguous properties lying south of the corporate limits of town of Shorrock.
This involves the 111 and 113, or this one and the next ordinance involve the 111 and 113 Chatham Drive. Again, these are two property owners who have petitioned for annexation to the city. There are several properties around them that have already been annexed into the city, so it would just time to do that.
Okay, hear the recommendation on ordinance 2023-05. Do I have a motion to accept as requested? The motion, is there a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries unanimous. Also, first reading of ordinance 2023-06. This is an order to annex certain contiguous property lying south of the corporate limits of town of Shorrock. That's same thing. Hearing the request, do I have a motion to adopt this first reading of the ordinance?
So moved.
The motion, is there a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries unanimous. Also, first reading of ordinance 2023-07. This is an ordinance setting referendum on the question of change in the form of municipal government. Mike, any comment?
As last month, council agreed to move forward with changing, form of government, or at least putting it up for vote. We have to do that first by ordinance. It will be then on the November 8th, 2022, ballot. As you see, it states the municipality of Shorrock change its form of government from mayor council form to the councilman if yes, no. And then we have to at least put 60-day public notice before the referendum. And then also for majority cast that we do change it, then it would become effective July 1st, 2023. And we've said we would have public meetings about it, and that the municipal association would come in and explain the differences between our current form of government plus the council manager form of government. Council's not allowed to kind of pick out ads and promote. You simply have to present the facts and not encourage one way or the other.
Council, would I have a first reading of ordinance 2023-07?
So
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries unanimous. Also, we have a resolution 08-2022. This is a resolution for the town of Shorrock to accept grants from the Federal Aviation Administration and South Carolina Aeronautics Commission for engineering design services for runway rehabilitation, design and bidding at Shorrock Municipal Airport, Bellevue Field.
Our airport runway is in dire need of being repaved. The first big thing we had to do out there was to remove the tree obstructions, and that was last done in early 1980s. We finally got that completed. Now we can move on to paving the runway. We got a grant to hire an engineering firm to oversee and come up with the cost. They say it's going to cost $3.5 million to be paid. Now we'll certainly get the majority of that in grants, but we have to do the engineering portion of it, and it's going to cost us. The total project for engineering is like $280,000. FAA is going to provide 90% of that. Town has to provide 5%. I'm sorry. 10%. I'm sorry. So we have to come up with a match of $10,426, and the state aeronautics will come up with a match of $10,426.
Council, you hearing the recommendation to move forward on this airport project? I have a motion to adopt resolution 08-2022.
So So moved.
Second? Second. Any further discussion?
No, Mike, let me just ask, there, probably, and I think I know the answer, but any possibility of getting some of the, hangar owners to chip in on this?
Good question. We can try, but I doubt we'll, that's,
They're the ones who are using it. aren't they?
Yeah. don't disagree at all with that, but I don't see that happening. But we're gonna try to find as much FAA money as we can, that's out there.
If we'll, Mike, if you address this with the, airport commission.
Okay.
You know, especially with what, 3 businesses out there, customers flying in.
Mike, the town match, where will that $10,000?
They'll come out, we have an airport, the rent that we get a year, and some of that will come out of it, and some will have to come out of, I guess, the general fund. If it's like 10,000, I'm thinking about that.
We do have an airport land sale account.
Yeah.
And I'm actually looking for it. But we, like you said, we'll have to find something.
Yeah, but we also have been able to get some COVID funds for FAA for the airport that can be used for that, and that's gonna neighbor about $20,000.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries unanimous. Also, we have a request to award contract to resurface the basketball courts at Levi Bird Park. Mike.
Basketball courts are good, valuable part. If you ever been, they need to be badly, they've got a lot of cracks there. We applied and got a park grant, this was back during the last fall, and we applied for it based on the estimates that was given us to a contractor that did the Caston Park tennis courts. And so we put it out to bid after finally getting notification that we were going to get this award. We only received 2 bids, one was for $38,400, the other one was $67,683. Our grant was based on 34,000 and some odd, so we were going to get a grant of 26,720 from PRT, which means we have to put up $11,680 match, and request that we take that out of hospitality funds to do draw visitors, and we have an annual basketball tournament that's there that will bring in some tourism.
Council, you hear the recommendation from the administration to go ahead and award this, contract. We have a motion to accept the recommendation.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Any further discussion?
Mayor, Mike, the light, how long will it last?
It could last. I remember that type of service being done back in the 80s, and it lasting before council then went out. And it was kind of same coding that's at tennis courts, and the contract guarantees us work of existing cracks for 5 years. New cracks, something different. But I really couldn't tell you how much. I'm hoping it lasts
10 years, 15?
I'm hoping it'll at least be 10 years before we have to do something.
So when was the last time we resurfaced?
I honestly have no idea. We've had those cracks filled, but they've come back up, and so just gonna have to redo it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries unanimous. We have a request for approval of adoption of section 584 ADA compliance plan for town of Schwab. Mike?
The state law requires us to basically adhere to section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1972 and Americans with Disability Act of 1990. Over the years, we have looked into doing things in order to accommodate those that are with special needs. Years ago, whether it was push bar type entranceway, lowering water fountains, that sort of thing. So we went through that whole thing and we made those type of changes. Well, we were required to do it periodically, so we're required to do it this year. I formed a committee And we went through and went through a self-evaluation and sent that to the PD Council of Governments. And so a lot of things that we need to improve upon are just simply things like if somebody were to call in and say, I'm hard of hearing, I need to be able to, for us to be able to go out and get somebody that does sign language, that sort of thing. We used to have an agreement with somebody with the school district, but we've not really looked at it, so we just, it's little things like that that we have. There's nothing major in this plan that needs our attention.
Council, I have a motion to approve the adoption of the compliance plan. That motion is second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Council, you have in your accounts, the packet, activity reports. If you have any questions or concerns, you can approach the administration department heads on those. At this time, on our agenda is citizens' comments. Are there anyone at this time like to address council on citizens' comments? Here you can see, then I have a motion to adjourn. The motion there, second. So, all those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, stand adjourned.
I have the copies that need to be signed, we have ordinances that need to be signed.
Thank you all for being here. Have a good night.